Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Mark Suppin and Matt Warman.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to FCC Supporter Square. I am your host, Matt Warman. With me is my co-host and ride or die, Mr. Mark Suppin. How you doing, Mark?
Doing great, sir. Good to see you again, my good man.
Wow. All I can say is absolutely wow last night. Okay, so we know they're not the greatest of competition, but even when we're playing, let's say, a USL team in like an Open Cup or something along those lines, or even preseason, we don't tend to do that. It was literally a historic performance last night. Um, I would assume that you were there, but I'm not sure. What were your thoughts of last night?
Yeah, obviously, knowing what kind of Team O&M is, certainly that level of competition is not what we normally see here in MLS. So it made for a sort of an easy victory, and FCC did well to get some players involved that normally don't. And it was even more intriguing to see not one but both of the Sharilla brothers out for the first team. So I think that was a exciting time for them. Certainly, they keyed on Stefan's goal late, where Andre put the ball down, and then I think it was the newest guy that I forget it, Lathan or Lena, number
Or
50,
yes.
number 55 that put it through, and Sharilla Stefan got the goal. So just great time. Atmosphere, certainly it wasn't sold out, but I do think uh, certainly the weather was perfect. You couldn't have asked for better to that. And one thing I want to say right now is kudos to whoever and all were involved in the painting and displaying of the mock, not a mock, but just a mock up of the tree that we all marveled at down in the Dominican. They sort of emulated that and then made it a tifo that they sort of moved around in Section 108 last night. So well done to everybody that was involved with that. Obviously, it was made as a good gesture and a wonderful homage to what we were marveling at it, and I was just glad that we honored the team through that tree, and that was just cool. That was just really cool. Obviously, the Bailey wasn't full. You could see that the stands weren't full, but great. Every doing nine shalalas. That I don't know whenever that's going to happen again. But yeah, it
I
was kind
once
of tough,
did five and a
tough on
half.
this old man.
I did it. I did five and a half when Brenner scored 5 goals and 2 of them were called back after he scored. We started, so that's why it's
Yeah,
good to wait, right? And I know that
yeah,
was I was wore out at halftime. Nine is a lot, and a lot of people are asking. A lot of people were kind of saying doing that because as soon as it was over, I was like, "What is our largest? What is the most goals we ever scored?" I guess like USL or anything. This 9 goals is the most scored. Obviously, it was a 6-0 against the Whitecaps a couple of years ago. They're
yep,
good now. I don't think they're good. We played the Whitecaps. It's not going to be no. I can guarantee you that. I would
yeah,
bet, I would bet the house on that. Uh,
right.
uh, but that being said, 9 goals is the largest differential that we've ever scored in the history of the league,
Yep.
of our existence, and also it tied the most goals scored in a match with FC Cincinnati. There
Hmm.
was an epic, as you might recall, a few years ago, a 5-4 victory against Montreal, where we at one point were down 4-2 and ended up scoring
Yes.
3 goals late to win that game. So that was 9 total goals. So that ties
Yes.
that record of 9 total goals. But this was all on one side.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
Say what you will about the competition. I mean, we started with a mostly second team Uh, Lineup, the couple of starters in there because we just don't have a full complement of second teamers that we go with. And we did win the first game 4-0, but you still have to put some effort out there. You don't want to park the bus and have them score a goal, or even worse, score two, and now suddenly scramble to get your starters warmed up to try to save this match. That would
Yeah,
be a nightmare. The headline is FCC destroyed this team. They're good to go, and that's the best part. Was they did with their second team, they did even better with their third team. So if you took our FCC2 second team, and they still score 5 goals and keep a clean sheet. It's nothing but good. It's nothing but good. Dado looked good. Everybody was having a
yep,
good time. It's one of these games where Alvis Powell scored a goal. We've been waiting for that for years. It's not an MLS game, but it still counts as a goal.
yep,
If people are having fun, Dado scored a goal. I think it was at Barlow, or no, it was Obi. Obi would have scored, but Dado wasn't sure it was going in the corner of the net, so he kind of redirected it.
mm,
Kind of an instinctual thing, and then he turned and kind of smiled at Dado, and everybody was
yeah,
smiling at Obi for, well, he stole your goal, but you probably would have scored. So the
yeah,
scoring, it was so much is that the scoring sheet at the end of the game was 3 pages long. They're like, here's who scored twice, scores.
yeah,
Seven players scored
yeah,
uh, in this. I think that's probably the most players that have scored in a single match for FC Cincinnati. Now, we
for
don't look
sure.
at other teams and whatnot. All I want to the takeaway is, did we soundly defeat a team that needed to be soundly defeated? Check. Did we
Check.
play our second team and third team and they play well? Yes. Check. Did anybody get seriously injured or even knocked? Yes. I don't think nobody got knocked. I think we're all good there. So all the boxes are checked. We don't have any national media going, I don't know about that FC Cincinnati. They only squeaked by, 4-3 or 4-2 against the lesser team. They're like,
Hmm.
oh, watch out for these guys. So we have
Yep.
teams. We know that, and then we're going to have to get into our Atlanta game too.
Hmm.
Any final thoughts on the O&M team game last night, other than what I've said?
I'll just reiterate what Noonan said in his post-match remarks. He was very complimentary of all of the second players that came in that played unselfishly, played the system, and did exactly what they were asked to do. You didn't see anybody overdoing their dribble. You didn't see anybody trying to do anything more than what they were asked to do. So that's the takeaway on that. The players had an assignment, they handled the assignment, on to the next match. That's really it. But yeah, nice environment, nice weather. Um, Boy, we've got something in the next round for this, so we can talk about if you want.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to that. So,
Yeah.
three Cincinnati players, all FCC Academy graduates, scored their first career goals last
Yep.
night. That
Yep.
was Adamar Chavez,
Yep.
which I don't even know him, Steven Jimenez, and Steven Chirilla. Adamar Chavez became the youngest goal scorer in club history at 17
Yep.
years and 44 days.
That's crazy.
He's still a senior in high school, I guess. With
Yes.
two assists, Obi matched the club record, which has been tied 4 other times. So those were all the stats that you really need to know from that. Um, I will say one last thing before we move to the Atlanta game, because I think it kind of dovetails into that game as well, is that a couple of years ago, I said our team speed was not that great. This was definitely before the summer window last year. It's probably the beginning of last year. Like, our team speed is, we've got really good players, but we don't have a lot of really fast players that are decent. Sergio Santos was probably our fastest player at that time, and him getting on the ball was sometimes great and
Mhm.
sometimes not so great.
Right.
But to the ball, right? There was like in the old days in American football where you try to get a track star to catch a pass. He runs a 4.2 40. If you can just he's got hands like stones. It's great. He can run fast, but rarely could he play football. Sergio Santos wasn't quite that, but he was in that neighborhood. Now we have Ender Echenike and several others that are not only pacey. And I noticed this in the Atlanta game. We're 6 foot plus in many of our positions.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to set piece, particularly a corner kick, it was like men and boys at O&M.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of the same in Atlanta. Atlanta has some, they have their players. They're working on some things too. But you can't teach speed and you can't teach height.
Yep.
Everything else you could probably work into. That is a combination that I think we were lacking in the last couple of years, and I think Albright has knocked it out of the park in those two instances. We're looking good. So Atlanta, I want to hear your thoughts on Atlanta because I've been chitty-chatting enough about O&M. So what are your thoughts on Saturday's matchup?
Well, Saturday's match, I think, obviously it's the first match of the MLS season. Certainly, preseason, we saw a lot of good play or a lot of good highlights, and it looked like this team was going to, really, come out of the gate strong. But literally, it took us 80 minutes to get the first goal. And you know what? That's just going to be, we're just going to get that game behind us that, we couldn't do anything for 80 minutes and then finally breaking through with two quality goals with, I just think we wore them down over time. Both teams were doing, well in possession. I think, plenty of chances early for both teams. Certainly FCC had good chances. Um, I think the cold environment did have an effect on them. It's low 40s. To start a season, that's tough. That's tough. So, but yeah, the goal you had to know Echenike was going to make dividends. He was already, doing those things earlier in the match, and it just came to fruition to get that ball to Denke, and Denke just doing what Denke can do and score goals. So 80 minutes to get that goal. Well, we waited impatiently for that, but clearly the seal of this match was the hometown boy Nick Haglund getting a wonderful, strong, up in the air header goal. And that just showed his total effort in getting ahead on that. And then the class of Nick Haglund giving Latte Lath a nice little tap on the shoulder, saying, "This one's for you, bud. You put me in the hospital. I'm putting you to sleep, son." That's all it mattered. 2-0. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Well, real quick, Dotto coming in for Evander. That was key. Took him a little bit to really get going, but I think he was solid for most of that match.
I think there's so many things. There's little things. Uh, First, the least important, but also the most important was when Nick Haglund scored the goal in front of the Bailey. I might add, he
Yes,
pulled out
right.
the sword. He literally,
Yes, he did.
that was his goal celebration, was pulling out the sword and waving his arm around like he had the sword. That was the cool part.
Yep.
The first goal, we'll talk about the first goal, but just the celebration of Denke. What did he do when Denke scored? He knew he was going to score once he had to settle it and move it around a little bit, but he knew he was going to score. What's he do? He runs right in front of the Bailey,
Yep.
pointing to the logo.
Yep.
These are the kinds of things that fans like.
Hmm.
We like goal celebrations. We like backflips when Bupenza scored. But these are the kinds of things that was the solidarity that's the symbiotic relationship that you get that other sports you sometimes don't get.
Hmm.
The
For sure.
players are egging us on, and we're egging them on in a good way to
Right.
play. So these are the non football thesis. Look, data wasn't scheduled to play. Vander said, I don't like this, and instead of trying to push him, we pulled him out, and Dado had to take 10. I mean, he didn't get any time to warm up. He took his stuff off at 40 degrees. And like, okay, I guess I'm doing the 9 thing, right? So, but he played an outstanding job. Can he do it all season? Maybe. Do you want him instead of Evander? Probably not. Evander on when he's on, his set pieces are going to be a step and a half above.
Yes.
The first it was the first match that I have seen in about 2 years. Not talking about the O&M match. I'm talking about the Atlanta match, where we dominated. I was surprised that the time of possession was only 55-45 in our favor.
Yep.
It answered another very important question several important questions that I had before we started the match. Atlanta, because this is their first match, I don't know what the preseason was like, but they're fresh. Their legs are fresh. They decided to press. They did a high press all game. High press all game. And rarely did it bother us, even with Dado in there. That's what I'm saying. It's not like, it's like Evander, he can handle a press. He can dribble out of a press. Dado doesn't necessarily do that, or if he does do that, coaches kind of get after him because he'll do it not to just get out of pressure, but then he'll keep going. Everybody played as you said, everybody played their roles, but they beat that press like it was like they weren't pressing. I mean, you could see that it was slightly uncomfortable, but they advanced the ball from back to front really well. The other thing I said in the preseason was they looked very robotic last year. I have to pass here. Oh, that pass isn't there. I will pass it back, and then I will pass it here. I will pass it there. It seemed like we knew where we're passing. The opponents knew where we were passing. The stadium knew where it was passing. The announcers knew we were passing. It was like it was all rote. There was no freshness, no dynamic. They did some back passing that sometimes makes me annoyed, but they seemed to quickly pass it back and pass it forward to kind of move the defense a little bit instead of just passing it back and sitting on it and looking up and then figuring out where. No, it's like get it going. If you're going to pass it back, there are times when you can pass back, and that's great. So these are the types of things that I saw was the passing. Their passing was crisp. Some mistakes. It's still early, but the ideas were there. They passed the space. That goal that Denke scored, that was a great counter, a great through ball to get it to midfield, and then another ball out to was that Enjanike, who makes a great cross, and Denke takes his time, makes sure that he puts it in because he had a breakaway earlier. It would have been earlier than 80, but he hits the post, the outside of the post. But that should have been a goal.
Yep. Definitely, and if Dank, Danke couldn't have gotten any closer, and miss. But quite uncharacteristic, and he was shocked that he missed it. Real quick, you have to point out the man of the match was certainly the never mentioned captain of the night, Miles Robinson, and it wasn't mentioned during introductions, and quite to my chagrin, but I didn't understand that. But he played solid. He played Miles Robinson, looking like he should be, back on the men's national team. Honestly, he's that good, and so I'm happy for him that he had such a solid match, and just wonderful out of him in that match.
I thought he played spectacular. As a matter of fact, that's such a great point because at the end of that game, I was thinking to myself, because there was a lot of I read in certain places, certain fan groups that post on social media, like, why did we put a DP for a center back? This is silly. We could get a $30 million striker, and that would be so much better. That's why. Because whenever they had a chance, and they did have a couple of half chances, Miles Robinson not only snuffed it out, but started going the other way. There was never a doubt that he was going to. look, so they were taking a step, but Miles Robinson would recover, make the tackle or make the interception and start going the other way. That's it. He didn't think about the defense. And the other thing was watching some of the new rules with Celentano. He seemed to be a little better in his distribution.
Yep.
I don't think if you let him think too much, now he has to think a little less. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe he's figuring out what he needs to do. So uh, all of that was really good to see. The passing was
Yes.
good, the spacing was good, the defense looked really good. The offense, we did score twice, and that's it wasn't a nail biter. I'd see it never to me in my mind. Once we scored the goal, I thought that goal was inevitable. As you said,
Mm.
we wore them out. They were pressing, and we were just making them run.
Yeah.
And it would look like uh, they were recovering very well in the first half, but
Yeah.
we were making them run. They had
Right.
it was a 0-0 half, but it could have been. It was like because we wore them out, it was already 1-0 at
Hmm.
halftime because of how our ball movement was, and that we knew that they were going to press us. Well, let's make them run, make them pay it, make them earn it, and they wore themselves out. Then in the last 30 minutes, they looked not necessarily gassed, but they looked like they were holding on. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been
Beatable.
we've been there several times scoring a goal and
Yeah.
then like, okay, can we last the last 20 minutes because it doesn't look so great because they're just taking shot after shot many times, and sometimes we win, sometimes we don't, but
Yep.
uh, it seemed like that was a goal was inevitable, and the second one just took all the pressure off of that
Yep.
and put that to bed. So two good scores. It's early. We're going to get better. That's the scary part. I think we're going to get better.
Yeah.
And the beautiful part there also was Evander is not seriously injured.
Yep.
We were already told that he wasn't going to play yesterday, and that's fine. I don't think he would have played even if he didn't get
No.
injured,
No.
because we don't need him out there for that particular game, but we do need him for the season, and we do need him for a very interesting opponent, opponent that we haven't played in a while. I can't remember the last time. I did not do any research on when was the last time we played them,
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago. But we're
2 years
playing
ago.
Minnesota at Minnesota. I
Yep.
remember I was with you the first time we played them in 2019 in Minnesota. This was the team a couple of years prior to our entrance that gave
Yeah.
up 61 goals, and they promptly
Yes.
stomped us with a 7-0 victory.
7-1.
7-1. Oh, that's right. We got a late goal. A late goal is like,
PK.
yeah, we're on our
PK.
way.
I think it was. I think it was it a Ledesma PK? I think. Uh,
Yeah,
it just
something like that. Yeah, it was
it's
well after.
starting to get foggy that far back.
Yeah, that was like what 8 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're a far cry from that team,
Yes.
and they've had ups and downs and other things as well. I don't recall what they did on Saturday or if they even played on Saturday, but this is our first road test. Our last
Yep.
2 years, we've been very good on the road.
Yep.
Over even last year, especially, we were much better on the road than we were at home, which annoys fans. I mean, if you can't take
Hmm.
care of your home schedule, particularly on some winnable games, which is what really cost us the Shield last year. So we took care of business on a team that is trying to compete in Atlanta, and they've got some new pieces that just didn't play, like Sergio Santos.
Hmm.
But now we have a Minnesota team that I can tell you that it's going to snow here Sunday night. It's likely going to be cold and
Yep.
possibly snowy Saturday night when they're up in Minnesota, and I don't think they play in a dome.
Nope. Nope. You got a team that's you're good. They drew with Austin last weekend, so two to two. But yeah, cold coming up is the is the worry. It's gonna be around 10 degrees, I believe, on Saturday. So we just have to see what's going to happen. I'm happy with our start, and I'm just happy with the firepower we have. We just have to take care of it in a even colder climate. Um, Thankfully, this month when we get to our new season in the 27-28, it's not going to include this month. So these kind of matches in February are not going to exist. We're not going to have December, January, February in this new alignment. So, we can say goodbye to matches like this because they're not going to be here after, you know, you know, going forward. But
Challenge accepted is what I'm going to say.
yeah, yeah. So, and for this guy, I don't like the cold weather anymore. I just don't. But you know, we know who Minnesota is. They have some strong players. I think they've put together a pretty decent team. Um, Nothing I saw that was really eye-popping in that. I saw the highlights against Austin. It was nothing really remarkable. Couldn't tell, if Minnesota was on the front foot or Austin was. But it was just a nice 2-2 draw, and didn't really see anything to really report on. Oh, you better watch this guy or this guy. I don't see that. So they've got some names. Gressel from who came from Miami. Yaboa is on their team, and of course you can't go without saying Calendar in goal. He's a perennial top of the you know top of the table in goalkeeping. That's he's been like that every year. So we've got our work cut out for us, but we're getting started strong, and I hope to continue it.
I honestly, if it's going to be 10 degrees and if they have to bust out the orange ball, I'm not I'm not looking forward to having a Vander out there at all. I mean, I think he's good to go. He may say that he would want to play in the cold weather. If I'm Pat Noonan, I would put him on the bench. I would put him in
Mm,
the 18, but I wouldn't start him. Dado's more than capable. And then if things get out of hand, we can bring him in.
yeah.
But I'd rather I'd rather Dado kind of run the ship, and he's got a week to know. He's already run. He ran the Wednesday thing, and it's obviously
Mm,
not the same competition, but
yeah.
he got more minutes. That's the beauty, right? So we talk about having a squad that needs to be 18 strong for all the matches, right? Because we got Tigres twice. What did they say on the air last night? Was like we have 5 matches in 14 days.
Yeah,
It,
this is the tough early season, that we've had. This has been consistent the last now 3 years in a row of this, and I think Noonan's at least putting his best foot forward in this year that we didn't have the last two. So I'm happy with where we're standing in this. Obviously, we've lost the last 2 years in the second, the next round. First, Brandon Vasquez in Monterey, and last year to Tigres. So we have a chance to redeem ourselves on that. So I'm looking forward, to that. The first match is here, so we can set the aggregate. If we can set the aggregate pretty high, we can go down to an environment like Tigres and hopefully, survive. Basically, that's they're a quality side. So I'm just hoping, we can get a big victory here and then ride it out down there in Mexico.
I thought we had our opportunities last year down there. I think we didn't we lose 2-1.
Yeah, it was
But
it was
we
close.
had more than our opportunities, and then we had opportunities at home that we to I think we were up 1-0, and it looked like okay, we've got this thing kind of tied up. Let's play some ball, and then they scored a goal, and then I think that was when was that okay? Yeah, no, that was earlier because Engineike came in for Leagues Cup, and that was a Liga MX team that we were playing. They were
Right.
surprised at him, but we had our opportunities. It seemed like we weren't fully there because we weren't fully a team yet. Uh,
Yes.
they weren't gelling. We're gelling now. This is the thing. This is the thing. It's so incalculable. Is that we
Yeah.
had our first ever boring preseason. We didn't have any splashy signings. We didn't have to
Hmm.
integrate anybody really deeply into the group. We did have a
Yep.
couple of signings, but and really we lost two left backs and gained one left back. So he got to spend the entire preseason. We already had him signed. He came in for the entire preseason, integrated with the group. Our our whole spine has been integrated for over a year,
Yep.
and often more. But so everybody knows what everybody else is doing. They did some tweaks, and we had some time to make some tweaks. I don't think we had time to adjust our play, our style of play, our level of play to the players that we had.
Hmm.
And with the defense, somebody seemingly going out every week, we were just hanging on and grinding out games. We won by grit, not by talent. Now we can
Yeah.
hopefully go on. Hopefully we don't have any injuries where we have to do that again. But hopefully
Hmm.
we can really play more style and less grit. But with 5 games in 14 days, that kind of stuff's going to happen, and I think this
Yep.
is even indicative. So we have Evander go down. Dado can definitely play for more than one game. If Pavel Buka gets tired, we can bring in Giddy. If we're going to play Obi, we could play Obi and Anunga, or Obi or Anunga, depending
Yep.
on depending on what the score is in the situation. We have so many options now. This team
Yep.
is so stacked. What is your expectations for Saturday night?
Well, Saturday night, again, I don't know Minnesota that well. I know a few of their players, obviously, but um it's just going to be a test of seeing what we are, with the preseason, with these uh, two matches against O&M and already one MLS match under our belts, and taking that into a cold environment. But this team has gelled already, and you saw it in, with the preseason and how amped up coaching was about the preseason. So I just, of course they talk it down, but you can see what how they believe the players are playing, and I can only say that we are coming in with all the guns ready. I don't know what we're going to get with Evander this Saturday, but I'm hoping it's um, maybe a half. Um, we'll just have to see. Just have to see. Obviously Evander knows what his hamstring's going to be like on Saturday, so he'll be the one to tell coach what's going on. But otherwise, we have arrested Buka. We've got you know, yeah, we've got Jabari who's ready, Denki who's ready. It's just going to be a wonderful experience up there in Minnesota, and I expect a good, strong victory, a good two nil, possibly 3-0 victory up in Minnesota.
I would absolutely like that. We seem to play better on the road than we do at home, and we played very well at home. Um,
Yeah,
this is such I know it's a lot of games, but it seems like such a dream start when you have a quiet preseason and you have a lot of players on the second team and others who've played a lot of preseason minutes, and then you go into a game like O&M. I don't care the level of competition. It's still a game that counts. It's not a preseason game. The
yeah,
mentality is different. How you approach it is different. You score 4 goals or 9 goals or 10 goals, doesn't matter. Those guys had to play, and that's a game that counts. It's not like playing Detroit City and going, well, we tried some weird formation and they beat us 1 or whatever. No, this counts, and they're a bit battle tested, even if some of that competition was lesser. I'm very happy. So, like I said, we can swap out Evander for Dado for a couple of games and not miss a beat. This team is built, and I want to say real quickly, Brian Ramirez and Tom Barlow played very well.
yeah,
Uh, I think there's more in store for both of them. Tom Barlow is not Corey Baird, and Jabari is also going to be in there as well. So this is going to be a nice 1-2 punch. Whoever starts, they're going to be swapped out in 60 or 70 minutes, and the other one can come in and more than capably keep the pressure on.
right.
So I'm excited for all of that. One last thing. Do you have any final words before I have my one last thing? Go ahead.
Um, Last thing is Great Bailey last match. You kind of wondered, what the Bailey environment was going to be when it was only about halfway there, but Knights, well done. That was strong. That was the strongest thing. The Knights were awesome, and chanting did well. We were heard. At least many people said, "Hey, we can hear you guys, very well." So got to give it up to the Bailey. It's never going to stay home. We're going to be there. We're going to support, and may not have been wall to wall, end to end, full, but I'm completely satisfied with how the Bailey what the Bailey did last night, and I just want that to ride all season. 90 minutes plus is every single match. So let's go.
The tifo was awesome. The crowd was awesome on Saturday. It was really loud. It was really
Yep.
nice. You guys sounded really
Yep.
glorious. So last week I made mention of something that my wife is doing. I
Yep.
can now officially say what it is. So there's a movie, a documentary about the first unofficial World Cup match. It was in 1971. It's called Copa 71.
Mhm.
It is unfortunately the date and time is a little amiss, but this showing is to help out. I believe it's the Maloney's Women's Shelter. If I said that wrong, I apologize because I'm going by memory, and my memory isn't as great as it used to be. But it's for a women's shelter. It's on Monday, March 30th at 5 p.m. at the UC. They have a film place at UC, and if you bring in a donation of products that women need, women's shelter, you can go see that for free. I got to see it with my wife last week. It is amazing. It is amazing and shocking and so many other things. So my wife goes, "Well, you could just stream it for $6." But that's not the point. The point
That's
is
not the point.
to support women's soccer, and also to support because it's Women's Month in March, and to support a women's shelter as well. So it's to help out the community. So if you have time and the inclination, you can hit fcc.supp.square@gmail, and we'll get you more information, or I'll try to get it out in another issue. So we've just run out of time because we're going to go blank here in a second. So if you guys want to get on here, please do like and subscribe us, and we'll see you next time here on FCC Supporter Square.
Thank you for watching FCC Supporter Square. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. The intro song was Disappointed by the Stone Bunnies. The outro song was Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Bunnies. If you'd like to be on the show or contact us, it is at fcc.supp.square@gmail.com. We'll see you next time.